Kicking off the album is Nonbinary, which features a minimal drum pattern in the first half of the song. The rhythmic, confrontational, almost spoken word vocals are talking about the come up, accumulating and flaunting off wealth, as well as like the multifaceted mentality of what it is to be non-binary, not being assigned a role or a duty, just living the way you want to. The track then goes apeshit as the beat begins to like combust and consume the sound space, almost like it's a sentient piece of matter that's attempting to eat everything around it, before closing off with some harmonic vocals and I think some acoustics. Fantastic opener. Coming off of that very tense opener, Time is more of a stress reliever in the track list. It's very ethereal. Arca's vocals are like bleeding into the sound perfectly. It has some pop sensibilities with the core melody and ends up being a very simple but entrancing track with how seemingly accessible it is. It's not abrasive or up in your face similar to other songs on the album. I liked it a lot. I thought it was good. This is one hell of a glitched out track. The first leg features this experimental take on reggaeton. The middle of the track gets dark and distorted, like the sound is caving from the inside with how compact it gets. The lyrics, though sung, I believe, in Spanish, I might be wrong on that, from what I was able to gather. The theme of the track is about liberation and empowerment and being free to do what you will in a fierce manner, similar to what we heard on the opener in face of Arca's identity and her transition and just who she is now. Yeah, fantastic. Another rigidly noisy, infectious track. Arca's fast flow and delivery in her bilingual performance is going at freaking hyperspeed. The production is in full turbo and does not let up until the last leg of the track, where the sound and tempo kind of cool off in favor for some sound play to close it off. It's so good. It's so good. After two pretty excellent tracks, CALOR is a slower, much more romantic ballad. The production does have that like trademark texture that you would normally hear from Arca, but there's something oddly beautiful about maybe the string or the keylades on the track. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Her operatic vocals here are gorgeous, and the lyrics, from what I was able to get off the internet, is an ode to her boyfriend Carlos, who has been a focal point in Arca's identity and her transition and overall just feeling accepted. Once again, it's a gorgeous track. This track, featuring legendary singer Bjork, is similar to the song Time, at least from a sonic standpoint. Arca has produced some of Bjork's previous material, or recent material to be more accurate, so it's not surprising to see them both pair up on this album, and they fit pretty well together considering that Arca has her share of verses as well and is able to keep up. Production on here is other-earthly with the sheer amount of density and vastness of the track. His performance is hauntingly beautiful and really gets up there, and I think Arca's vocal performance is pretty great as well. The outro of this track is given this dramatic turbulence as the track comes to a close, and I think it makes easily for one of Arca's best tracks, period. This track features Shy Girl, who is an up-and-coming producer/singer who has already established her signature sound and flaunts it in full display on this track. Her fast, monotone singing, rapping amidst this pulsating, futuristic club beat is super fun to listen to. It is a hedonistic banger. Listen to it. Like right now, listen to it. This track features Spanish songstress Rozalia on another experimental reggaeton beat. This one with more of a dance and club feel to it as opposed to the previous track. For me, it's like a twisted version of like a Bollywood EDM song. It's very weird to describe. Her and Arca are constantly playing off each other in semi-aggressive ways, and the energy of this track is near limitless. It sounds like it could go on forever with the way it's structured. Yeah, absolute bop. Here we have an incredibly repetitious experimental house track. There's so many layers of effects on the vocals, from sounding chipmunky to deep and faded to just freaking hyper. The RIPTA SLIT is given a negative or harmful connotation based on the vocals, so to my ears it sounds incredibly kinky, like violently kinky. The production goes through some interesting segues and progressions, so it's able to savor the non-stop barrage of I ripped the slit, I ripped the slit, I ripped the slit. But I think coming back to it, it was definitely the weakest track on the album for me. It just, it's not a bad track, but in comparison with the others, I just didn't get that much out of it. This track features Sofie, who is the standout artist in experimental electronic music at the moment. So the idea of Arca and Sofie on the same track had me incredibly excited and set my expectations pretty high. And they exceeded it by quite a lot. It sounds like they made this track as a duo rather than Arca just producing a song and slapping a feature on top of it. The sound on this track is absolutely bananas from both a sound design standpoint and a musical standpoint. It undergoes so many ventures in such a short amount of time that listening to it once or twice will not do the song justice. From the intro, Manila, 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 to robotic IDM to just glitched out insanity. I can't even describe it any further. It's amazing. It's not accessible by any means, but goddamn is it phenomenal. Following that absolutely manic track is a much more accessible track in comparison due to the heavy R&B influence Arca displays. Her vocals are great, the harmonies are nice, it has a nice sense of romanticism and longing, and I also think that the melodies on this song are catchy. The aura and atmosphere is very dreamy with these tinges of like tech laced into them. It's another pretty beautiful track. Closing off the album is No Queda Nada, which translates to There's Nothing Left. It is very similar to the sound displayed on the track Calor. The atmosphere of the track is very open and the spotlight is being put on the vocals, which are once again fantastic. Her ability to convey love and sentiment in her performance carries this track by quite a large margin. And the lyrics, I believe, is another ode to her boyfriend from what I read online. It is a touching track with a lot of emotion put behind it, and thematically serves as a great way to close off the album. So overall, I think this is Arca's best project for me, personally, because while I have enjoyed her previous material, on her previous albums the track lists were just overstuffed and didn't really have a lot of good pacing to really bring out those mind-bending sounds to full fruition, in my opinion. But on CHIQUI, I believe that's how you say the album name, all the issues I had with her albums, not necessarily her sound, but just how her albums are structured, have been remedied. All the features on this album kick ass. I think Shy Girl had the best one. The sonic direction and ambition for each track sound much more focused in their approaches, and the flow of the album leads to a lot of pleasant surprises and mood shifts in the track list without reducing the parts other songs play in order to fortify this incredible experience. Yeah, I loved it. Not much else I can say. I give it a